Albus Severus Potter. Albus Severus Potter was born in 2006, the second son of Harry Potter, the savior of the wizarding world, and Ginny Weasley, his mother. At age 4, he nearly drowned after falling off a boat, and was saved by his father Harry, which for a man who died and came back to life was just another day, nothing special. Named after 2 Hogwarts headmasters, Albus Dumbledore, his father's mentor and the greatest headmaster the school ever had, and Severus Snape, the man his father Harry spent 6 years hating before realizing he'd been protecting him the whole time. Deeply moving. Also, kind of a lot to put on a birth certificate. Then Hogwarts happened. Sorted into Slytherin, the first Potter in living memory, alongside his best friend Scorpius Malfoy, son of his father's old school rival Draco Malfoy. And unlike every Potter before him, Albus couldn't fly. His broomstick ignored him on the very first lesson, which earned him the nickname Slytherin Squib from his classmates. Charming lot. And if you've somehow forgiven the cursed child for existing, you know that his relationship with his father Harry was genuinely painful. Albus felt crushed under the weight of expectations he never asked for, and a legacy he couldn't live up to. He wasn't the chosen one, the kid who came after one and couldn't get a broom off the ground. The arc, honestly. Scorpius Malfoy. Born in 2006, he's the son of Draco Malfoy and Astoria Greengrass. Astoria raised her son to respect muggles, which put her at constant odds with his grandparents Lucius and Narcissa Malfoy, who very much did not share that opinion. Imagine growing up with that dinner table conversation. Then his mother Astoria died from a hereditary blood curse. He and his father Draco grieved together. Who knew the Malfoy men were capable of something other than cruelty? In 2017, he arrived at Hogwarts and was sorted into Slytherin, where, as you already know, his best friend ended up being Albus Severus Potter. They met on the Hogwarts Express, sharing a compartment despite protests from Rose Granger-Weasley, his future crush and academic rival. Because of course his best friend was a Potter and his crush was a Granger-Weasley, the universe has a sense of humor. Unlike his father Draco, at the same age, Scorpius turned out to be a genuinely kind, bookish, slightly awkward kid. Brilliant academically, Draco apparently instructed him to beat Rose on every test, which is the most Draco parenting advice imaginable. Then the rumors started. Half the wizarding world convinced themselves Scorpius was secretly Voldemort's son, conceived via time turner because Astoria supposedly couldn't have children naturally. No evidence, but it didn't matter. The whispers followed him through every corridor at Hogwarts. Being a Malfoy was complicated enough without that. Rose Granger-Weasley. Rose Emmeline Granger-Weasley was born in 2006, the first child of Ron and Hermione Weasley, 2/3 of the golden trio that defeated Voldemort. In 2017, she arrived at Hogwarts and was sorted into Gryffindor, exactly like both her parents. No surprises there. Academically, she's her mother Hermione's daughter through and through. Brilliant, driven, and apparently already stressed out about her OWL exam schedule before she'd finished unpacking her trunk. Ron, her father, sent her off to school with one specific instruction: beat Scorpius Malfoy on every test. Because apparently academic rivalry is a Weasley love language. She's also a gifted Quidditch player, made Gryffindor chaser in her second year, with McGonagall herself describing her flying as outstanding. So yes, Hermione's brains, presumably Ron's athletic genes, finally showing up when needed. As you already know, she wanted nothing to do with Scorpius Malfoy initially, deeply prejudiced against him because of his family name and, you know, the Voldemort stuff. Cold, sharp, and entirely convinced she was right. Classic. Fun fact, Rose and Scorpius are actually 4th cousins, both descendants of Phineas Nigellus Black, their shared ancestor. She rejected a family member, technically, James Sirius Potter. James Sirius Potter was born on the 26th of March 2004, the firstborn of Harry and Ginny Potter, named after 2 legends, his parental grandfather James Potter I and his father's godfather Sirius Black III. Big shoes to fill. Sorted into Gryffindor in 2015, obviously, he spent his Hogwarts years collecting achievements like they were chocolate frog cards. Quidditch captain, perfect. Head boy, all NEWTs passed. His father Harry noted that everything comes easily to James, which is a perfectly lovely thing to say about your eldest son, and an absolutely devastating thing for his younger brother Albus to overlook. over here. After Hogwarts, he went professional, playing chaser for Puddlemere United. In 2027, he married Grace Ollivander, granddaughter of legendary wandmaker Garrick Ollivander. They had 4 children, sons John and Philmont, called Monty, cute, and daughters Euphemia and Jude. Lily Luna Potter. Lily Luna Potter was born in 2008, the youngest child of Harry and Ginny Potter, her parents, and the only daughter. Named after 2 women her father Harry never stopped missing, her parental grandmother Lily Evans and Luna Lovegood, her parents' close friend and one of the most reliably strange people in the wizarding world. A beautiful name. A lot of history behind it. She arrived at Hogwarts in 2019 and was sorted into Gryffindor, continuing a family tradition so consistent it was basically a formality at this point. Like most Potters, she took to Quidditch naturally, playing chaser for Gryffindor, a skill she owed largely to her older brother James Sirius, who taught her to fly, which made them unusually close even by Potter standards. In adulthood, he'd regularly choose her as Quidditch partner, which is either very sweet or very competitive, probably both. She went professional after Hogwarts, though eventually stepped away from the sport. Lily also desperately wanted Teddy Lupin, her father Harry's godson, to officially join the family by marrying her cousin Victoire Weasley. She got her wish. Teddy Lupin, the boy who lost everything and still turned out fine. Edward Remus Teddy Lupin was born in April 1998, the only child of Remus Lupin and Nymphadora Tonks. Both his parents were killed at the Battle of Hogwarts, his mother by her own Aunt Bellatrix Lestrange, his father by Death Eater Anton Dolohov. Teddy was weeks old. He was raised by his maternal grandmother Andromeda Tonks. She took her grandson in without hesitation, raised him alone, and gave him the kind of stable, loving home that nothing in her bloodline suggested she'd ever build. His godfather Harry Potter stopped by for dinner roughly 4 times a week, because Harry wasn't going to let another kid grow up feeling like no one wanted him. Between Andromeda's resilience and Harry's stubbornness, Teddy never stood a chance at turning out badly. Teddy inherited his mother's metamorphmagus abilities. He could change his appearance at will, and his hair apparently went from black to ginger within the first hour of being born. His signature color in later years was turquoise. He did not, however, inherit his father Remus's lycanthropy, despite what Rita Skeeter loved to imply. He was sorted into Hufflepuff at Hogwarts, same house as his mother, and became head boy in his 7th year, the only known Hufflepuff head boy in canon. By 2017, he was dating Victoire Weasley, daughter of Bill and Fleur. His cousin James Sirius Potter caught them snogging on platform 9 3/4 and immediately told everyone, because of course he did. He's James Sirius Potter, Lorcan Scamander. Lorcan Scamander, one of the twin sons born to Luna Lovegood and her husband Rolf Scamander, grandson of the legendary magizoologist Newt Scamander. His name means little fierce one in Irish, which for a kid raised by Luna Lovegood is either wildly accurate or deeply ironic. Luna married Rolf considerably later than Harry and Ginny or Ron and Hermione, according to Rowling, though definitely before 2014, because at that point the twins already existed. Through his mother Luna, Lorcan is also a descendant of the Ollivander family. His maternal grandmother Pandora was born an Ollivander. So his bloodline runs from the greatest wandmaker dynasty in Britain to the greatest magizoologist in history. No pressure. The story goes Lorcan was sorted into Hufflepuff and played beater for his house team. Whether he inherited his mother's dreamy calm or his great-grandfather Newt's talent for chasing dangerous creatures into confined spaces remains undocumented. Hugo Granger-Weasley. Hugo Granger-Weasley was born around 2008, the second child and only son of Ron and Hermione Weasley. He inherited his mother Hermione's bushy hair, which in a sea of Weasley redheads made him stand out immediately at every family gathering. His name was likely chosen by Hermione, possibly after French novelist Victor Hugo, whose work she loved, which means Ron's contribution to the naming process was almost certainly, sounds good to me. Growing up, Hugo's closest companion was his cousin Lily Luna Potter. The two were the same age and apparently inseparable. Here's the strange part. Hugo is completely absent from the cursed child. His sister Rose is there, his cousin Lily is there. Hugo, who should have been starting Hogwarts at the same time, simply didn't appear. Hugo got to grow up quietly Weasley, the most normal kid in the most abnormal family in Wizarding Britain, Delphini. Voldemort had a daughter. Yeah, Cursed Child fans, this is your moment. Delphini was born in March 1998 at Malfoy Manor, the secret child of Lord Voldemort and Bellatrix Lestrange, his most devoted follower. Both parents died weeks later at the Battle of Hogwarts, leaving her an orphan before she could crawl. She was raised by Euphemia Roll, a former Death Eater who took her in, not out of love, but because she was paid to. Delphini never attended Hogwarts, never received a proper magical education, and grew up knowing almost nothing about her parents, which didn't stop her from becoming terrifyingly powerful. She could cast unforgivable curses, speak Parseltongue like her father, and duel adult Harry Potter and Hermione Granger simultaneously without flinching. She infiltrated the wizarding world by posing as the niece of Amos Diggory, manipulated Albus Potter and Scorpius Malfoy into stealing a time turner, and attempted to rewrite history so her father would survive. She failed. Harry, Draco, Hermione, Ron, and Ginny stopped her. In the end, she begged them to kill her rather than face a life without the father she never knew. Sent to Azkaban instead, the daughter of the Dark Lord, ending up in the same prison that once held her mother. Make of that what you will. Victoire Weasley. Born the 2nd of May 2000, the eldest child of Bill Weasley and Fleur Delacour. Her birthday falls on the anniversary of the Battle of Hogwarts, the day the Second Wizarding War ended, which is why her parents named her Victoire, French for victory. Her mother Fleur was never going to be subtle about it. Her mother Fleur is part Vila, a descendant of magical creatures whose beauty is literally supernatural, the kind that makes grown wizards walk into walls and forget their own names. Victoire inherited that bloodline and was described as blonde and beautiful, which, given the genetic lottery she won, is about as surprising as a Weasley being sorted into Gryffindor. At the 2014 Quidditch World Cup, Rita Skeeter dedicated an entire section of her article to Victoire and Teddy Lupin, finding dark corners together instead of watching the match. Her father Bill eventually swapped seats with her and pointed her at the pitch. She sulked about it. By 2017, she and Teddy were still together, and Lily Luna Potter, her cousin, was already campaigning for a wedding, so Teddy would officially become part of the family. Fred Weasley II. Fred Weasley II was born in 2008, the eldest child of George Weasley and Angelina Johnson, named after his late uncle Fred, George's twin brother who died laughing during the Battle of Hogwarts, because George wasn't going to let that name disappear. In 2019, he arrived at Hogwarts and was sorted into Gryffindor, same house as both his parents. He took up Quidditch and played beater, the exact same position his father George and Uncle Fred held on the Gryffindor team back in the late 1990s. Oliver Wood once called the original twins unbeatable. Fred II apparently took that as a personal challenge. There's something about a kid growing up above Weasley's wizard Wheezies. Fred II inherited the name, the house, and the position on the pitch. Whether he also inherited the talent for chaos, nobody's confirmed that yet. Given the gene pool, the answer is obvious. Roxanne Weasley. Roxanne Weasley was born in the mid-2000s, the younger child and only daughter of George Weasley and Angelina Johnson, and the sister of Fred Weasley II. Her name comes from Persian and means dawn, which is either a coincidence or Angelina's way of saying the grieving chapter was over. Given her parents, one a Gryffindor Quidditch star, the other a professional troublemaker, the odds of Roxanne being boring are statistically impossible. Her mother Angelina played Chaser for Gryffindor during the original series. Her father George played beater. Between them, Roxanne grew up with more Quidditch DNA than most professional players are born with. Rumor has it she ended up on the Gryffindor team, because with that gene pool, staying off a broomstick would have been the real achievement. Lysander Scamander. Lysander Scamander, twin brother of Lorcan and the other half of Luna Lovegood's contribution to the next generation. His name comes from Greek and means liberator of mankind. No pressure for a boy who presumably spent his childhood chasing nifflers through somebody's garden. Lysander and Lorcan didn't grow up in a normal household. Both their parents, Luna and her husband Rolf Scamander, grandson of Newt, were working magizoologists who spent years traveling the globe together, discovering and classifying species nobody had ever documented before. So these two boys were raised somewhere between field expeditions, magical creature reserves, and a grandfather's house. At the 2014 Quidditch World Cup, Luna left the twins at home with Grandpa. Rita Skeeter Rita Skeeter used this as an opportunity to speculate that the twins were too disturbed to be seen in public, because apparently being raised by Luna Lovegood and the grandson of Newt Scamander means you're automatically unhinged. Rita has never met a private family she couldn't turn into a headline. Molly Weasley II. Molly Weasley II, the eldest daughter of Percy Weasley and his wife Audrey, born in 2000, named after her grandmother Molly Weasley, the woman who killed Bellatrix Lestrange in a single combat and held the entire Weasley family together through 2 wars, 7 children, and an undetermined number of howlers. Naming your daughter after that woman is either a tribute or a challenge. Knowing Percy, it was both. She arrived at Hogwarts in 2011, and word is she was sorted into Ravenclaw, breaking the Weasley family's centuries-long Gryffindor streak. Percy's daughter choosing brains over bravery is the most Percy outcome imaginable. The man once wrote a report on cauldron bottom thickness for fun. Ravenclaw was always in the bloodline. It just needed someone to finally admit it. Lucy Weasley. Lucy Weasley, the youngest daughter of Percy Weasley and Audrey, born in 2005. Her father is the Weasley who once chose a ministry career over his own family, then spent the rest of his life making up for it. Her mother Audrey remains one of the most mysterious spouses in the entire clan. Lucy arrived at Hogwarts in 2016 and was sorted into Gryffindor, continuing the family tradition her father nearly abandoned. Word is she eventually married into the surname McGonagall. Whether that means what you think it means, nobody has confirmed. But the idea of a Weasley becoming a McGonagall is the kind of crossover event the wizarding world didn't know it needed. Dominique Weasley. Dominique Weasley is the middle child of Bill Weasley and Fleur Delacour, wedged between the family's golden eldest Victoire and the baby of the group, Louis. French name, part Vila blood. Here's an interesting detail. The name Dominique is actually unisex in French. Canon never spells out whether Dominique is a witch or a wizard. Most fans read her as Bill and Fleur's second daughter, though the text itself leaves it open. Deliberately or accidentally, hard to say. Word is she may have inherited her mother Fleur's looks and her father Bill's taste for adventure. Where that combination took her remains a mystery. The least documented kid in the flashiest branch of the Weasley family, Louis Weasley. Louis Weasley, the youngest child of Bill Weasley and Fleur Delacour and their only son. Here's the thing about Louis. His grandmother on Fleur's side was a full Vila, a magical creature whose beauty and charm are practically weaponized. That bloodline has passed through Fleur, through Victoire, and Dominique, and now through a boy. Canon has never really addressed what Vila ancestry looks like on a grandson, whether Louis got the supernatural good looks, the fiery temper, or just a very confused mirror. Word has it, it's all of the above. He reportedly settled somewhere along the Cornish coast after Hogwarts, not far from Shell Cottage, where he grew up and apparently inherited his father's talent for staying out of the spotlight. For a kid with Vila blood and a legendary surname, keeping a low profile like that takes a real commitment. The Hogwarts Extras. Jan Fredericks, Craig Boker Jr., Carl Jenkins, and Polly Chapman. In The Cursed Child, Albus Potter and Scorpius Malfoy didn't exactly have a smooth Hogwarts experience. These 4 classmates were the background cast making sure of it. Jan Fredericks hung out with Rose Granger-Weasley and was apparently good at flying, which, given that Albus couldn't get a broom off the ground, must have been delightful to witness. Carl Jenkins was the charming individual who coined the nickname Slytherin Squib for Albus, and enjoyed spreading rumors about Scorpius being Voldemort's son. Outstanding contribution to school culture. Polly Chapman rounded out the trio by joining the gossip train and picking the popular side every single time. The social equivalent of always betting on the winning Quidditch team after the match is over. And then there was Craig Boker Jr. Craig was a Slytherin, a stickler for rules, once described simply as a good boy. He didn't go down fighting. He was simply there when Delphini needed someone gone. A good kid in the wrong corridor at the wrong moment. That one stays with you. 3 bullies and 1 genuinely decent person who didn't make it. Hogwarts hasn't changed that much, has it? Now, let's talk about all 10 richest marriages in Harry Potter Explained. That's your next lesson here at Stickman Hogwarts. Watch now before Rita Skeeter starts asking questions about your love life.